Tanzania has a gemstone 1,000 times rarer than a diamond, and a lake so ancient and so strange that its deepest water has never touched the modern atmosphere. And you had absolutely no idea, because maps never told you any of it. Starting off from fact 30. Let's start 300 million years ago, long before our modern map existed. Tanzania's Selous Basin sits on thick Karoo sediments from the late Carboniferous to the early Jurassic periods, the same ancient Gondwana rock sequence found in South Africa, India, and Antarctica. They are a signature. Physical proof that those land masses were once a single supercontinent, fused together before the Earth slowly tore them apart. Tanzania's ground still carries the fingerprint of that original world. Fact 29. And speaking of what lies beneath, Tanzania's Williamson Diamond Mine sits on the crater of a volcano that erupted 50 million years ago. This volcano tapped a magma tube reaching more than 150 kilometers into the Earth's mantle, then fired its treasures upward. Straight up. Diamonds, formed under crushing pressure in the deep Earth, launched toward the surface like geological rockets. It is one of the only places in the world where the planet essentially delivered its own treasure. Fact 28. Now picture hiking in Tanzania's Udzungwa Mountains. You expect to climb for hours before cloud forest begins. Instead, it starts at just 300 meters above sea level, one of the lowest elevation montane forests anywhere on Earth. It shouldn't be there. Ecologically, it makes no sense. And yet there it is, clinging to the hillside like a mistake nature decided to keep. Fact 27. You see, Switzerland is 41,285 square kilometers, but the Selous Game Reserve, now the northern section called Nyerere National Park, is larger than Switzerland. At 50,000 square kilometers, it is the largest protected area in all of Africa. Larger than the Serengeti. Larger than most countries. And yet most people have never heard its name. Hidden in plain sight on every map, enormous and almost entirely unvisited. Fact 26. The Usambara Mountains in northeastern Tanzania are sometimes called the Galapagos of Africa, and the name is not an exaggeration. Their centuries of isolation have produced over 3,450 distinct plant species, a level of botanical richness so concentrated that botanists still travel from around the world just to document what is growing there. Fact 25. Tanzania holds rare element granites near Karagwe in the northwest, containing coltan, columbite tantalite, a mineral that is inside the phone you are holding right now. Every mobile phone capacitor requires it. Every electronic device depends on it. And some of it came from a corner of Tanzania that most people could not find on a map. Fact 24. Okay, this next one sounds completely fake. There is a gemstone, a real certified gemstone that is 1,000 times rarer than a diamond, and it exists in exactly one place on Earth. Fact 23. Ol Doinyo Lengai, rising from Tanzania's Rift Valley, is the only volcano on Earth that currently erupts nitrocarbonatite lava. Not regular lava, something far stranger. It pours like water. And where ordinary lava glows orange at over 1,000 degrees Celsius, Lengai's lava emerges at just around 500 degrees, cold by volcanic standards. It flows dark, almost black. It looks less like fire and more like ink being poured across stone. There is no other volcano like it anywhere on Earth. Fact 22. And here's something that will make a geologist genuinely emotional. The Ngorongoro Caldera is the world's largest intact, unflooded volcanic caldera. 19 kilometers across, 260 square kilometers of flat savanna floor, enclosed by ancient walls of collapsed volcano. From above, it looks like a world within a world, a perfect arena of life, sunk into the earth, surrounded on all sides by the ghost of a mountain that no longer exists. Fact 21. Tanzania's black rhinos, or Diceros bicornis michaeli, were nearly erased from existence. In the 1970s and 1980s, poaching collapsed their population by 99%, from an estimated 10,000 animals to fewer than 100. To protect the survivors, Tanzania implemented something almost military in its intensity: armed guards, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. a zero-compromise shield around one of the rarest mammals on Earth. They are still there, still protected, surviving by the thinnest possible margin. Fact 20. In northern Tanzania, preserved in volcanic ash, is a trail of footprints made by 2 or 3 individuals walking upright 3.66 million years ago. Not human footprints. The footprints of our ancestors, Australopithecus afarensis, the oldest known evidence of bipedal locomotion in the entire fossil record. They were walking side by side. The ash hardened around their steps, and millions of years later, we found them. That moment of connection across deep time is genuinely difficult to put into words. Now pause for a second. We have talked about black lava, a diamond mine on a crater, but we haven't even reached the beach sand that never gets hot, and the deep water of a lake that has never touched the modern atmosphere. Well, stay with me. Fact 19. Pemba Island, off the Tanzanian coast, is the most fertile island in East Africa per unit area. The Arabs who traded here centuries ago called it Al Jazeera Al Qadra, the Green Island. Today it produces the majority of Tanzania's cloves, perfuming the Indian Ocean trade routes just as it has for centuries. Fact 18. Do you think Lake Tanganyika is ancient? Well, the Malagarasi River is actually older than Lake Tanganyika itself and is roughly 10 to 20 million years old. Before the Rift Lake even formed, the Malagarasi was flowing west into what is now the Congo Basin, one of the most ancient rivers in Africa, quietly predating the very lake it now empties into. Fact 17. In Tanzania's Kondoa district, termites build mounds so massive and crowded that they change how rainwater flows across the land. These rock-hard dirt towers act like tiny concrete umbrellas. Instead of letting rain soak into the ground, they force stormwater to bend and flow around them. Over time, this constant water movement creates a bumpy, rolling landscape. It is a rare example of tiny insects physically reshaping the map. Fact 16. Zanzibar was connected to mainland Africa as recently as 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, when sea levels were roughly 50 meters lower. You could have walked there. Then the ice melted, the seas rose, and the island was cut off. Almost everything unique about Zanzibar's ecology today is a direct result of that one geological moment.
Fact 15. Tanzania's iron ore deposits near Laganga in the southern highlands are estimated to contain over 219 million tons of proven ore mixed with titanium and vanadium, a geologically unusual combination found in very few places worldwide. Not just iron, not just metal. A rare geological fusion that makes this one of the most strategically important mineral zones on Earth. Fact 14. Buried beneath the southern highlands of Tanzania, in a place called Ngwala Hill, lies one of the top 10 largest rare earth element deposits on the entire planet. It holds an estimated 214.4 million tons of total mineral resources. These are the building blocks of the modern world. They directly power high-performance electric vehicle motors, used by manufacturers ranging from Tesla to BYD. The hidden backbone of the clean energy revolution, sitting in Tanzanian ground. Fact 13. Zanzibar is the only place in the world where the Zanzibar red colobus monkey lives in the wild. While Jozani Forest is its primary stronghold, fragmented populations also survive in neighboring island forests in rural farmlands. When rising seas cut Zanzibar from the mainland after the last ice age, this monkey was stranded. It has been evolving alone ever since, on an island that once controlled a trading empire stretching to Persia, India, and as far as China. Fact 12. Pemba Island has a submarine canyon just off its northern shore that plunges to over 700 meters depth within just 5 kilometers of the beach. Most submarine canyons are far offshore, in the open ocean. This one is practically in the shallows. One of the steepest nearshore drop-offs on the entire East African coast. And most people visiting Pemba's famous clove farms have no idea it exists beneath the water they are swimming in. Fact 11. Zanzibar Island is only about 85 kilometers long and 39 kilometers wide. A speck. And yet from this speck, rulers once commanded a maritime empire spanning the entire western Indian Ocean. Trade routes stretching to Persia, India, and China. No army, no continental landmass, just wind, dhows, and geography weaponized with extraordinary precision.
Fact 10. The town of Iringa sits at 1,635 meters and has a climate so temperate, with warm days and genuinely cool nights year-round, that it was historically described by British colonists as the Switzerland of Tanzania. Isn't that cool?
Fact 9. The beach sand at Zanzibar's Nungwi is so white and fine that it never gets hot, even in full midday sun. Not because it is shaded, because it is made of coral-derived calcium carbonate grains that reflect heat rather than absorbing it. Unlike quartz sand on almost every other beach in the world, you can walk on it barefoot at noon without flinching. A beach that breaks the rules of beaches. Wow. Fact 8. Tanzania's mangrove forests store approximately 153 million tons of carbon in their soils and biomass. Per hectare, they lock away more carbon than almost any other ecosystem on Earth. More than rainforest, more than temperate woodland. One of the most powerful natural climate systems on the planet. And almost nobody talks about them. Fact 7. The Swahili words for the Indian Ocean monsoon winds, Kusi and Kaskazi, were so fundamental to East African coastal navigation that 16th century European explorers adopted them directly into their own sailing charts. The winds themselves, and the language of the people who had understood them for centuries, became permanently embedded in global maritime history. Tanzania's linguistic heritage is literally written into the maps of the world. Fact 6. Tanzania's Wami River passes through Sadani National Park, one of the least visited coastal forests in Africa, where the river meets the Indian Ocean inside the park boundary. It is one of the only places in Africa where you can watch lions, elephants, and dolphins from the same beach. Not in sequence, simultaneously. Honestly, I just wish to experience them myself. Fact 5. The Zanzibar Channel remains one of the world's greatest living highways for traditional sailing. Every day, hundreds of handcrafted wooden dhows cross these waters, moving cargo, fish, and commuters between the island and the Tanzanian mainland. Outside of the Arabian Gulf, it is the only place on Earth where wind-powered shipping is still a massive, everyday part of the local economy. Just commerce, carried on the same wind that carried it 1,000 years ago. Fact 4. Tanzania's Miombo woodland, a vast open forest of Brachystegia and Julbernardia trees, covers approximately 227,000 square kilometers of the country. That is larger than the entire United Kingdom. It is the single largest biome in Tanzania by area, and one of the most biodiverse woodland ecosystems in the world. Most people have never heard of Miombo. It exists at a scale that defies imagination and operates in near total anonymity. Fact 3. Now this one changes everything. Tanzania holds a staggering 9,000 to 14,000 plant species. Over 1,100 are strictly endemic, found nowhere else on Earth, crushing the plant diversity of most of Europe and Asia. The secret is time. While brutal ice ages repeatedly froze and wiped out northern forests, destroying entire species forever, Tanzania's ancient woods stood unbroken. For tens of millions of years, they simply never died. Fact 2. Remember I told you at the beginning about a lake so ancient and strange that the bottom of it has never touched the modern atmosphere? For that, we have to go back millions of years, because that is how old the bottom of this lake truly is. Lake Tanganyika is meromictic, meaning its upper and lower water layers never mix, not seasonally, not ever. A phenomenon so extreme that the deep water has its own ancient chemistry, untouched by the modern atmosphere. Below 200 meters, nothing can survive. I mean, for multicellular life, it is an absolute dead zone. Scientists call it fossil water. A ghost ocean sealed beneath the living one, carrying chemistry from a world that no longer exists above it. Fact 1. And the final fact, the one that, once you hear it, reframes everything. Beneath Tanzania's Serengeti, embedded in the open plains, there are rounded boulders sitting in the sun. They look ordinary. Tourists photograph them and move on. But here is what nobody tells you. Those rocks are more than 2.5 billion years old. older than the Sahara Desert, older than the Himalayas, the Rocky Mountains, and the Alps combined. While entire continents were still being assembled around them, these boulders already existed. They are not rocks on a landscape. They are the landscape in the most ancient sense imaginable. These are just 30 facts about a country which has been quietly defying the rules of this planet for billions of years. A country which has been home to our oldest ancestors, the world's strangest volcano, and a gemstone that should not exist. A country which has been standing still while the rest of the world changed around it, and is still standing. The more I learn about Tanzania, the more the geography of this country mesmerizes me. But we are not done yet. We have a lot more to cover next. If any one of these facts genuinely stopped you, drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're new here, this is exactly what we do. Geography, but make it matter. See you in the next one. God bless you all.